I wrote a book in a 32-foot RV parked in an industrial park, surrounded by air ratchets, lawnmowers. Not exactly the Zen writing retreat you'd imagine, but that chaos? That's exactly why this book exists. One question asked in desperation, what am I doing right now, changed everything. People see my book, Seven Mindful Questions, and they imagine I wrote it in some peaceful writing retreat. Quiet mornings, cup of tea, inspiration flowing. Here's the truth. I wrote it in the 32-foot RV parked in the industrial park with noise, constant noise. You know what an air ratchet sounds like, right? Pop, 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 pop. Air compressors. Anyway, I was trying to just work in this middle of this chaos. And I was working on a counter that was literally designed to be a receptionist area. So it wasn't a writing desk, and it certainly wasn't an office, a place where people interrupt you constantly. I was flummoxed, I was overwhelmed, and I needed to get my act together fast. So I'd lost my house in Pittsburgh, and there I was living in an RV in the industrial park, trying to figure out what came next while everything around me felt like it was designed to keep me from thinking clearly. Distractions weren't occasional, they were constant. Every time I tried to focus, something pulled me away. And, it could have been a sound, a thought, a worry. But I was supposed to be actually working. So one day in the middle of all that noise, I said, what am I doing right now? And I closed my eyes. Not what should I be doing? Not what did I forget to do? Not what's coming next. Just what am I doing right now? I grabbed my journal and I wrote down the question, and then I began to answer it. And I kept asking that question, what am I doing right now? And it was helping me organize my thought from feeling overwhelmed by all that noise. Something happened when I wrote the question longhand. My racing mind slowed down just a little, but just enough. So I asked myself another question. Why is this important? This is the because question. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And then why do I care about it? So those are the first three questions. And I kept going. I was writing them down and answering each question really honestly. And with each one, I felt a little more grounded, a little more present, a little less drowning in the chaos that was around me. And by the time I'd worked through the 7 questions, I realized this isn't me just processing my mess. This is a framework. And this is how you can cut through noise, external, internal, and figure out what actually matters. So the 7 questions became the foundation for absolutely everything, not just getting through that day in the RV, but for rebuilding my entire life, helping the stressed out professionals who are working to juggle multiple priorities and feeling like they were constantly behind. That's why I wrote the book, 7 Mindful Questions. The questions are simple. What am I doing right now? Why do I care? What am I doing right now? Why am I doing it? And why do I care? The ABC, aware, because, care. And those questions help me and literally thousands of others redirect their mind from chaos to clarity. I didn't write 7 Mindful Questions from a place of having it all figured out. I wrote it in the middle of my chaos and mess, and asking those questions I desperately needed answered. The industrial park wasn't ideal. The RV wasn't peaceful, but that environment, that pressure forced me to find something that actually worked. Not theory, not someday, not when things start to calm down, right now in the noise when I needed it most. This is day 8 of my About Me series. And this is why I believe so deeply in these questions, because they didn't come from a place of privilege or perfect conditions. They came from desperation and determination in a 32-foot RV with air ratchets screaming outside. If they work there, they'll work anywhere. When you're overwhelmed, when you're distracted, when you have no idea what to focus on next, you don't need a quiet retreat. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need the right questions. What am I doing right now? Start there, and the other 6 questions will follow. Dr. Lisa, signing off. Please like, subscribe, repost, and share, and all the things. Bye bye.